The name of this show is Living Wisdom, and I'm Patty Paul. Today I'm very pleased to have my friend Dale Carley back as a guest, and also a wonderful, unconditionally loving being friend who, shall we say, is another guest. That being friend is Baratta, and that friend Baratta is channeled by Dale. Dale, welcome to the show again.
Thank you, Patty. It's great to be back.
And I know, Dale, that in your regular life, so to speak, your day job is as a computer consultant, and you also have new career goals that you're training for. But you're also an experience channel, and I know you give private consultations and workshops with Baratta.
Yes.
Since I have some great juicy topics involving current events that I'd like Baratta to talk about today, I'd like you to go into your channeling process, and the credits will roll.
All right. And I'll see you later.
All right. Yes, I have a sense that Baratta is with us, and
Yes,
Yeah.
it's Baratta.
hi. Welcome to the show again, Baratta.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure having you here again. And what I'd like you to do today is give your insights and wisdoms on some of the current events that we're seeing in the news these days. And I think that because of your unique relationship with the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom and the earth, that it would be great to get your take, so to speak, on some of these things that are happening. What I'd like to do is just kind of throw out a selection of topics and let you choose what you want to talk about and take as long as you want. We're going to be taping 2 shows today, so if we don't cover everything in one show, we can have a second show to cover more of the topics.
Wonderful.
All right. Some of the epidemics that are affecting the animal kingdom, involving farm animals, for instance, the hoof and mouth disease, the mad cow disease. That's one area that perhaps you could talk about. And then another area that's capturing the news, it seems like year after year lately, human beings being attacked by animals and also insects. Domesticated animals like dogs, certain breeds of dogs, pit bulls and other breeds.
Yes.
And by insects, the killer bees that we've been hearing about. And the latest news in April 2001, when this show is being taped, fire ants, invasions of fire ants. Another area, dolphins and whales. Every now and then we hear in the news where dolphins or whales are beaching themselves for no apparent reason. And then finally, regarding human beings' relationships with animals, the issue of whether to be a vegetarian or not, the significant issue of vivisection, whether that's the right course for medical science, and then also the issue of furs being used as decoration in clothing. So anyway, I'll throw that out on the table, and you just go for it, Baratta.
All right. And we believe back at the beginning you were talking about the animal diseases, yes?
Yes.
All right. So much of this is about the relationship of humanity to the animal kingdom and to nature in general. And also its relationship with itself. Let's start in the reversed order. The relationship to itself, especially in terms of how and what human people eat.
Mm-hmm.
How in terms of what is the relationship you have with your food. All right? Do you see food as a source of nurturing, a source of promoting growth and healing, promoting expansion, and therefore treat the food as something that is deserving of nurturing, of promoting expansion and growth, so that you treat whatever your food source may be with that kind of honoring that you are then treating yourself by eating it. All right. All living consciousness, which is all things, actually, is worthy of honoring. And that includes human beings. Honoring by themselves, honoring by others. So that any individual is worthy of being honored, first by themselves and also by others. Take that by extension then to that which a person eats. If what feels right to the body is to eat vegetables and meat, to eat vegetables and a certain kind of meat, shall we say, then what is most significant and most important is that the food be honored in its creation, in its growth, in its agriculture, so that the results of that honoring come back, in fact many-fold they can come back through the process of eating. The reverse is also unfortunately true. The lack of honoring of self can result in a lack of honoring of one's food source. And the result of that is food that cannot similarly honor and nurture the human being. To bring it more down to specifics, the diseases that are now happening, especially in other parts of the world, but somewhat here as well in your United States, are arising due to an acceptance of a very low level of maintenance of the health of these animals. For economic reasons primarily, but also due to a sustained level of denial and resultant ignorance through generations as to how these animals truly need to be cared for. Disease is a result of improper caring through nutrition, through providing a safe and healthy environment to grow in, and this applies to plants as well. With proper nutrition, just as with humans, disease can be eliminated as a life-threatening thing. Therefore, it is important to understand the relationship you have with your food, regardless of what type it may be. All right? There are thresholds of belief, thresholds of energy that must be crossed with certain types of food. Thus, with foods that can create highly toxic environment in the digestive system, such as red meat, there is a highest level, red meat, and that includes beef and pork. The highest level of toxicity can result in the lower intestines due to the fact that these intestines in humans are very long. All right. Therefore, there is a very high level of belief to get across. Belief in sense of needing to work with reality with a great deal of energy to push past the potential for a toxic situation occurring. Health is directly related to issues such as these, but I know, yes, we are getting beyond that initial question. All right, shall we then move on? And the next
if you feel
item,
complete with
yes,
that one, all right.
Yes.
And the second question that I threw out there was, why are these attacks occurring? Domesticated animals, like
Yes.
dogs attacking human beings,
Yes.
killer bees and things.
There is a distance from the true nature. The nature of many of these animals, such as the dogs, is to run in packs, yes, and to live in packs, all right. There is a nature of defending territory, absolutely, but these animals grow to learn their territory and to learn what threatens it and what does not. With these animal attacks, there has been a distancing from their true nature, exacerbated by, in fact, what they eat.
Oh.
Yes. But also by the very domestic nature of their existence, such as the dogs, yes? And they become what you would call perhaps neurotic in terms of their relationship with their true nature. They become detached, distorted, twisted, and the sense of detachment from their true nature produces these irrational behaviors, irrational in the sense of what their true nature might be.
So is it just these
Yes.
particular breeds that seem to be involved, like the pit bull and the Rottweiler, those breeds,
Yes,
so separated from their true nature?
yes.
Mhm.
And many of them are bred to violence, yes?
Mhm. Yes.
The ones that are most separated from their true nature, the ones that are most separate from, shall we say, true instinct, are the ones that get increasingly bred, yes, promoting that kind of energy, and therefore are the least predictable. Yes. And so there is an encouragement of neurotic animals through that breeding, but also through what is fed them, because they are fed the diseased,
Oh.
dying animals. Yes, they are.
Oh.
It is acceptable to feed domestic animals the carcasses of diseased and murdered animals,
Oh.
the ones that are put to death, you understand?
Yes.
Now, we are not saying that animal control is wrong per se, but the relationship with the animals causes it to emulate murder.
Oh.
Because
this is interesting.
it is without an honoring of the consciousness of the animals, all right?
Let's get specific, if you don't mind. Are you talking about canned dog food? for
Canned dog
instance?
food, dried dog food, cat food, etc. Yes, yes. The processed, shall we call them, animal byproducts. Yes.
Yes.
These are animals that have died of disease. The cattle, etc. And their carcasses often rot for a great deal of time, and then they are processed by what is called the rendering plants.
Yes.
And then moving on from there, they are put into the animal feed of various kinds, including domestic pet food. Yes.
Oh. Hmm. I had heard that about the kind of canned food that's sold in markets.
Yes.
I've been buying my cats canned food from the vets, but
Yes.
to be honest, does that also have the same property of being?
Yes, there is a compliance with regulations, absolutely, and they meet minimum standards and very often exceed those standards, but nevertheless, your society does accept the concept of rendering, all right? And as long as that exists, as long as it is acceptable to feed animals, both carnivorous and herbivorous, or what is called omnivorous,
Yes.
as long as that is acceptable to feed a rendered material to them, then there will be a continuing degradation of the health of these animals.
Good to know.
Yes.
Yes. So my mind is thinking of how to solve this problem. The obvious would be to not purchase that kind of food, not feed it to the pets. But as a metaphysician, perhaps you can suggest to me ways I can also bring about a change.
Yes. And we have spoken of this before. It is
Yes.
the honoring of self and then the honoring of the animals. Changing the relationship between self and the animal kingdom and plant kingdom as well. And so that if it is appropriate for you to eat an animal, all right, and we understand it's not directly understood as that relationship of eating an animal. You're eating beef, or
Right.
you're eating pork,
With
or you're
plastic
eating chicken.
wrapped around it.
And that is a completely different thing from an animal, but actually it is more important that we would suggest to remember it is an animal. You are eating an animal right now, someone that had living consciousness in it. And we say someone to bring it home, to bring it more real, and to connect with the consciousness that that contributed.
Yes.
This meat or this plant to communicate, and it can be done. All consciousness can communicate with all other consciousness simply by intention, to go out there and say, I sense you, and I am grateful to you for your contribution. I honor you for your commitment to your growth in the expansion of consciousness, which all consciousness is expanding to new levels. That is its ultimate drive, to reach for the revelation of secrets, yes, to reach for more. And so, yes, I honor that in you, and I respect that as I take this. And not to make it more sacred necessarily in a religious sense, but to make it more sacred in whatever sense is true for you. Yes, whatever that may be. If it is in a religious sense, then absolutely, absolutely, beautifully so. Make it more real that you are taking part of an animal into yourself. Honor that process and speak to others about that honoring. Not in a preaching sense, but also in a sense, but instead in a sense of being a model, being an example. Not that you will go and preach necessarily, but that you will be available to speak if someone asks. That you will be available to share your perspective if someone asks. And then finally, on that deepest, more real level, to see other people, visualize them, and the world in general, humanity in general, deepening their relationship with their food as a way of honoring themselves and their planet.
It's very helpful.
All right.
Thank you. And we still have some time left, so perhaps you might help us understand the issue of dolphins and whales who beach themselves.
Yes. All right. It is important to understand that there are two sides to this. One is that certain species of mammal do beach themselves as a way, in some cases, of letting go of life. All right?
Uh-huh.
It can be an expression of many things. So it can be viewed as, quote, natural. All right? But on the other hand, when you see, as you have, an acceleration of that, where you see more and more of it, then it is certainly time to take a look at what it is they are trying to escape from. And most clearly, it is the environment that they find themselves living in. You, as humans, you have grown accustomed to a certain level of air pollution. Yes?
Yes.
You have adapted to an extent, but to a greater extent you are suffering the results. Thus, many people strive to escape that pollution, moving to other areas, or on a deeper level, they may strive to escape it simply by their bodies producing some disease and not being able to cope. You understand?
Yes.
But in any case, it is a discomfort resulting then in disease of one form or another. All right. And so these mammals beaching themselves are performing a service, yes, in that they bring a message, perhaps not consciously, but in the creation of this. Some we would suggest are conscious of it, but in the creation there is this message that these waters are being polluted. They are being poisoned such that we can no longer live in them. This is our home, and this pollution is more than we can handle. And we understand there is a great deal of energy being expended by humans to alleviate this problem and to reverse it. But it can be taken deeper, as you well know. And so that is the message, to take it deeper.
Take it deeper.
Yes, take it deeper, to feel the pain, and most of all, feel remorse. Not shame, not guilt, but that magical energy known as remorse, the truth that I have caused pain. I, as a member of this society, have caused it, and in this case, by participating. Not that I am to blame, not that I should feel guilty, but that I should feel remorse so that I can feel enough love to change it. Because until I feel that magical remorse, I am blocked from feeling the love I need in order to go and change my reality. All right.
That makes sense. And what seems to have happened for many of us is kind of an apathy
Yes.
about all of these problems.
Yes, apathy is easier to deal with than the prospect of the pain and remorse that is underneath.
Yes.
All right? And in your society, remorse is a no-no. Remorse means I'm guilty.
Yes.
And that is a misnomer.
Right.
All right?
So understanding what remorse really is.
Remorse is taking responsibility to the deepest level so that you can change it.
Yes, I'm sure there are people who have never heard that before. So
Yes. And then tying in with that, after remorse, there is a need for self-forgiveness.
yes.
I participated in this reality. I have allowed it, just by it being there, I have allowed it. I want it to be different. And even if it is just that I wake up in the morning and I say a prayer for the relationship with the earth, between humanity and the earth. Or I charge a crystal. Whatever it is that works, that I know works, that I know I can do, or I talk to someone about this. What do you think about this issue of the animals beaching themselves? What do you think about pollution in the waters, in the air? What do you think about this issue and that issue?
Mm-hmm.
Exploring with people to help spread a new sense of caring.
That's
Yes.
a wonderful message, Baratta, and I think you've been very helpful to those who might be watching this show as well as to me. I just got the 1 minute signal, so
All
we'll
right.
close for now. And of course, we will be taping a second show and probably a few minutes after this one ends. So I'll look forward to talking to you further.
All right.
And I want to thank the audience for their attention today. You've been watching the show Living Wisdom, and this is Patty Paul saying goodbye until the next time.